waiting to get some stability after the election. Then it can bring in some more control over its stroke, brat, son, Israel, and then teach it bills. Because it's done that in the past. It's actually threatened Israel many times, which we haven't seen, but it has threatened Israel many times. So can you comment on this, that, look, is this the case that is tied in with the American elections? Trump even spilled it out the other day. Yes, you Jews are because of my elections, you mentioned this, you Jews are in the election, and if I don't win, there won't be no Israel. Hence, he's linking it directly to them. Yeah. So I can see the interest, there's an interest for them in common.
Yeah, I think that there's a very good chance that's the case, because it doesn't add up. America has all the leverage over Israel, military, economic, you name it. Yeah? I mean, there's parts of Israel, they fully integrate, like the Israeli military is fully integrated into the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. Literally on a daily basis, there's exchanging information and stuff like that. Because obviously America's helped them build some of their weapons, some of their equipment, all of that. And now we're hearing from the State Department that most of the diplomats aren't happy that the support we've been giving. So it's election year, you need to show, Israel's gone to war, so if you want to get the Israeli vote or the pro-Israeli vote, you need to show you're on their side. And there have been times where Israel's gone too far, and they have criticised them. Right? But the problem you've got is you've got other people in America who are completely in bed with Israel, so then they criticise the regime for doing that as well. So I think you're right, there's a good chance actually once the elections are done. But the last thing you want here is where Israel defeats a number of powers in the region and it causes instability. But this was a similar scenario America they had with Israel in 1967, where Israel got really arrogant because they defeated everyone in 6 days. Israel took over the Sinai, they took over the West Bank, Gaza, and even the Golan Heights. And some Israeli politicians were saying, we don't need America anymore. Like, we're the regional power. So America was like, okay, our support for you wasn't like you get that arrogant, yeah? So in the 1973 war, America didn't intervene until right to the end, where the Israelis came begging and basically said that, they thought their worst nightmare was coming true now, which is they're going to get annihilated. And at that last moment when America intervened, and even then it was conditioned that you've got to give back the Sinai, give back the land you've taken, and then we guarantee you that countries in the region will normalise relations with you. So Egypt was the first one that actually, so they've been here before. That has happened before. What it also shows you is that, in our countries like Muslim countries, they open up the country to America. So America, for example, comes to Pakistan, meets the political leadership, meets the military leadership, meets people even at a mayor level, meets the opposition civil servants. So that's how they connect, that's how they build their network. And then that's how they can influence. America's basically opened up its country to Israel. So Israeli officials come, they meet like rich people, they meet the media, and what they do is they try and promote the Israeli position with these guys. And then what they do is they fund these guys. If you look at Joe Biden's cabinet, all of them have been funded and received donations from the Israeli lobby. Because there are some differences, because the Israeli view is we want the whole of Palestine. We don't want there to be a Palestinian state. We want all of it, right? That's not the American position. So what Israel's been doing, it's been promoting itself within America. So this has caused some issues internally. However, like I said, we've been there before. There's been differences between Israel and America. As far as America is concerned, you're our forward base. We'll give you a decent standard of living. We will give you security if you need it. Yeah. On the other hand, you've got to implement our interests in the region, right? If you can't, then there's a problem. And they've generally done that. Yeah. But what Israel does, it does other stuff as well, which isn't necessarily in America's interest. That what America does is it generally lets that go, or it deals with it behind the scenes. So, for example, in the first few weeks after October 7th, Israel was literally talking about full-scale invasion. So what happened was every week, Blinken, you had the CIA head, and then Lloyd Austin, the defense head, yeah? They were going to Israel on a weekly basis, sitting in Israeli cabinet meetings. And it literally was, look, you can't do a full-scale invasion, yeah? But that's just going to look bad. And remember, the whole Palestinian state originally was an American idea. The whole idea, this Palestinian state concept, it was America's policy, yeah? And that was, you have Israel, you have Palestine, you have secure borders. So Israel would be too busy dealing with Palestine. So that whole West Bank, if you look at it, brothers, it's quite a large territory. And West Bank's in the mountains. If that becomes a separate state, most of Israel's population, brothers, is the north on the coast. You go from the north to the south. Yeah? That Israel's going to have a problem. That's why the Israeli view has forever been no Palestinian state. So what they do, they build settlements. You keep building settlements. When America said this is where the border's got to be, we've had a community there for 3 decades. So obviously America's a global power. America's got other things to deal with as well. So that's what we're going for. I suspect things will change after the election. The only thing is let's say the election result, Trump doesn't win. They're probably going to have bigger domestic issues than Israel. So what Netanyahu's probably realised is I've got until the election to do what I want. After the election, there's a lot of ifs and buts. It depends what happens. Yeah. But what Israel has definitely done, yeah, it's a pariah nation at the moment. The credibility it had where you're the victims, and where people thought, you know what, this is the Holocaust, this guy deserves. Remember, you know, the discussion of Palestinian state is the West Bank and Gaza, not the other territory. As far as we're concerned, you took over the whole of Palestine, like your thieves basically. The thief doesn't become the owner, does he? But when they're talking about Palestinian state, they're talking about the West Bank and Gaza only. Like, there's not even a discussion about the rest of it at all. Yeah. So that's the scenario we're in currently. But Israel at the moment, yeah, is a prior. And you know the pager incident, yeah. It's interesting because pro-Zionists are saying, look how great we are. You got Muslims thinking, look how strong these guys are. Most of the world thinking, what the hell, man? This is terrorism. You're using consumer technology to kill people. Most of the world horrified at what happened. So the thing is, from an Israel's doing a lot of actions which militarily help them, but in the long run, they're digging their own grave. And what you find with powers or strong people who basically, when they're in decline, what they do is they don't look long term. They just look at what do I need to do to succeed now. And this is the problem America has. America's doing action. They're not looking at the long term implications. What they're looking at is we've got a problem now, and this is the best way to solve it. But the way you solve it means you lose all credibility. So, for example, America is supporting Israel now. You know the Israeli argument for the south of Lebanon? Yeah, they say we want a buffer zone. How is that argument any different to Russia's argument for Ukraine? Putin's argument here is we need a buffer zone because NATO's there. So how come that's illegal, that's bang out of order, but for Israel, they've got the right to defend themselves? Like, you look silly when you do that. You're the global power. You implemented and created this order that you said you're going to enforce upon everyone. It's a level playing field. And now, basically, you've got this little titchy country that seems to be doing the complete opposite. And in the same breath, you say, no. I mean, for example, why don't they apply the two-state solution to Ukraine? Why don't they say two-state? All the areas Ukraine lost, let's have 2 states. Unthinkable, they would say that. So why is that all right over there? So this is the problem America's got. So they're just thinking, how do we get through this? But the way you're getting through it, you're completely undermining yourself. And that's why I think, however this turns out, even if they win, in the long run, they're in decline. They've completely undermined their effectiveness.